Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Licking Land Trust Farm to Fork at Home. This is an odd year, as you know, so we're attempting to continue the farm to fork tradition by bringing you a meal kit and having you cook with us at home in the safety of your own kitchen. This year we are broadcasting to you from the Brindu Mansion's carriage house. They graciously allowed us to use their kitchen space for this cooking demonstration. By now you should have received a meal kit. And what we're going to do this evening is show you what's in that kit and instruct you on how to cook a delicious meal. Working with us tonight is a chef from Granville, Neil Bell, and his business is called Mamo's Kitchen. Perhaps you sampled some of his delicious food before. Neil has graciously agreed to design this meal for us and use a lot of local food in the ingredients list. And tonight he's going to show us how to cook this meal. So let's meet Neil and figure out what is in your kit and how we can put it together into a meal.
Thanks so much, Doug. I want to clarify though, I consider myself to be much more of a home cook than a chef. I have chef friends in the professional cooking world, and I've just cooked at home for a long, long time. I love cooking, and that's why I started Mamo's Kitchen, to help people cook more easily. Mamo's Kitchen works with grocers all across Ohio and hopefully further soon to prep ingredients as an extension of their deli department. So we develop recipes and grocers actually build the kits for their customers. And our very first grocer was Ross's Granville Market here in Granville, and they've been very helpful in helping us facilitate the meal kits for tonight's Farm to Fork at Home. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take everything out of the meal kit bag, starting with the cooking instructions. We can set them down. We've got some salt and pepper, candied pecans, leeks and zucchini, beets and butternut squash. The salad dressing is pre-made. This is the smoked sausage kit, so here's the sausage. Olive oil, rice, thyme and rosemary, shredded Parmesan cheese, butter, sweet corn, a pear, mixed greens, and 2 individual cups of chicken broth. One thing you'll notice is that all of the pre-portioned ingredients have both a number and the name of what's in the container. The number corresponds to the step in the cooking instructions. So you can kind of organize things sequentially based on when you'll need them as we cook. Okay, we're going to do the first couple steps of the cooking instructions now. I've already preheated the oven to 400 degrees. That's step 1. In addition to that, we're going to take the root vegetables, the beets and the butternut squash, and put them in a small bowl or a medium bowl. And we've got our olive oil just for the roasting veg. We're going to just drizzle it right over. And I have a spoon here. We're going to stir this up, nice and oily. Then we're just going to put it on a roasting sheet. I use this sheet liner to just help with cleanup, but it's not necessary. So these roasted fall vegetables are going to be part of the fall salad. Now that they're on the sheet, we have salt and pepper, which we're using for both this step and a later step, so don't feel like you need to use it all right now. And if sodium's an issue for you, for sure, modulate it. Just do it to your taste. But I'm going to season this roasted veg now. I just kind of sprinkle it lightly over the top, a couple of pinches. And then this can go right in the oven. We're going to roast that for 15 minutes, stir it, and then another 5 to 8 minutes. While that's happening, we're going to get our chicken broth warming on the stovetop. So simply take a small saucepan, pour your chicken broth in there. This is what the rice is going to cook in. It adds more flavor than water. So it's simply 2 cups of chicken broth, put it over high heat to get it simmering, and then you can reduce it all the way to low. We just want it hot and ready when the rice is ready to start boiling. So we'll put that on the stove top and set it to high. And so now these 2 things are happening simultaneously. And we'll be back and start the sautéing for step 3.
I'm Jeremy King, a board member with the Licking Land Trust. I'd like to talk to you about Spring Valley Nature Preserve, one of the Land Trust's premier properties and a true jewel for the community. Its 45 acres are some of the nicest in the county, and it sits adjacent to the 52-acre Salt Run Park. Spring Valley wasn't always a nature preserve, and there's an interesting story behind how this parcel of land became so treasured in our community and a place for generations of families to explore and recreate. Permit me a trip down memory lane as we explore the history of this property. Back in the early 1800s, when Granville was first founded, Spring Valley was like most other properties in the area. It was heavily wooded and had a beautiful stream, Salt Run, meandering through it. I'm sure that over time, trees were timbered and livestock grazed, but for the most part, Spring Valley remained largely natural. The Spring Valley property was purchased by Edwin C. Roberts in 1929, and in 1933, the Roberts family opened a stream-fed, concrete-lined swimming pool on a clearing of several acres on the site. The pool was a favorite swimming and recreation site for many regional residents, including me. I spent many summers swimming at Spring Valley. I didn't know it as anything but a pool. I never knew there was a stream in the area surrounded by woods, nor did I know about the adjacent Salt Run Park. I did know that Spring Valley was special. When the pool was closed in 2004, the land was put up for sale. There was great concern in the community that the property would be developed. That's when the Granville Township, the Licking Land Trust, the Roberts family, and many others put their heads together to create a bigger vision for Spring Valley. The pool would be removed, the stream restored, and Spring Valley would become a nature preserve. The township and the land trust received a Clean Ohio grant to make it all happen, and the rest is history. Today, the preserve is a place where people can picnic, go for a hike, do creek walks looking for macroinvertebrates, or maybe just turning over rocks, hunt for wildflowers, or just explore the multitude of trails. It's one of the few places in the area where you can lose yourself in nature within minutes of leaving your car. Like any preserve, Spring Valley needs our collective support. Today, the Licking Land Trust, Granville Rec District, and the Granville Township work together to maintain trails, plant trees, and protect the preserve so that you and the generations that follow can enjoy the park and maybe even take guesses as to where the pool used to be. If you haven't been to Spring Valley Nature Preserve, make time to go this fall as the leaves are turning and the air is crisp. If you can't go this fall, go as soon as you can. I hope to see you on the trails. Be well, and please get out and see Spring Valley.
Okay, we're going to move on to step 3 in the cooking instructions, and we're going to light our burner to about a medium-high heat, and we're going to take half of the butter and put it in the pan and melt it down. While this melts down, we are going to open up the leeks and zucchini and our salt and pepper. So we got the butter going. We're going to get the veg in there. So that's going to get up, making some noise here in a second. Got the veg in the pan. We're going to do a little bit of salt and pepper seasoning. Always start with a little, and then throughout cooking here, we're going to take a couple breaks to taste. Taste is going to get this thing just how you want it. So don't overshoot with the seasoning just yet. But we're going to sweat these vegetables for 8 to 10 minutes, and so we'll be back once they're a little more done.
Hey, it smells great in this kitchen. I hope it smells great in your kitchen as well. While we have a little break, I want to remind you that we have an online silent auction with some wonderful items and works of art by some local artists. Please check that out and bid against your neighbors and friends to really make these items go. We will be running the silent auction until 10 a.m. tomorrow, that's Sunday morning. So you have a little time after you cook your meal. Check it a few times, maybe check it tomorrow morning when you get up to make sure that you are the winner of that wonderful silent auction item. Thank you for your support.
Hello, Farm to Fork enthusiasts. We hope you are enjoying the cooking demonstration along with Neil Bell from Mamo's Kitchen. Perhaps you're already enjoying the meal that you've created from the kit that you got as part of Farm to Fork. Thank you so much for joining us this year. Just want to take a few minutes and call your attention to our silent auction. So if you scroll to the bottom of the Farm to Fork registration page, and you'll see again our terrific sponsors that made this event possible, you will get to our silent auction items. The silent auction is all online this year. And we are delighted to have some wonderful packages to present as part of this silent auction. I don't have time to show them all to you in detail, but I want to show you how it works. So, for example, if you are interested in nature's beauty, and who isn't really, here is a package that features the work of Evelyn Frolking and Studio Artiflora, one of her centerpieces, along with a summer and spring pollinator kit from the Dawes Arboretum, and a framed photograph by local photographer Christy Vargo, all bundled together, and this package could be yours. All you have to do is bid on it and then check back to make sure no one has outbid you, and if they did, you make sure to outbid them. This is just one of a lot of terrific packages this year. If you are into photography and art, we have some wonderful opportunities for you. Here is a photo from longtime Land Trust supporter and local photographer Abram Kaplan that would look terrific on any wall you choose to put it on. Many of you know the work of Jay Young. His work is, of course, on display in the Kuzmal Gallery in downtown Granville. Each year of Farm to Fork, Jay has contributed an original work for our silent auction, and this year, here is his contribution. His work is much sought after, and a lot of times in a silent auction setting, you can get a bargain. You can get this work probably for less than you would pay for it in retail if you are the winning bidder. So please check back and bid aggressively. I'll just scroll down to the bottom to show you a lot of the terrific packages. Some of these are opportunities for you to get active and to take part in services in our area. We have a package featuring Albans Landscape and Nursery Center, who are often supporters of Farm to Fork. All of these are just terrific. Here is a dinner at home package featuring a lot of treats from Trader Joe's. I'm a Trader Joe's fan myself. And if you, on any of these packages, scroll to the bottom, you can see where you can put in your own bid. So take a look at all these packages and bid aggressively. And bidding will continue until Sunday morning, September 13th at 10 a.m. So be sure to check Saturday night before you go to bed. And then Sunday morning, maybe check again to make sure you are the winning bid on all of these. Again, thank you for your support of Farm to Fork, and we hope you enjoy it.
Once a year, Trust board members and community volunteers visit each conserved property to ensure that the terms of the conservation easement are being maintained. Volunteers look for changes in the use of the land, encroachment on Trust properties, or other concerns that may negatively impact the conservation of that property. These inspections also serve as a touch point between the Trust and the property owners, an opportunity to check in and answer questions, as well as observe the property. Annual inspections are an accreditation requirement of the Land Trust Alliance, but have been common practice of the Licking Land Trust since its foundation. Inspections are a primary vehicle used by the Trust to ensure that our collective conservation efforts are being executed in the most beneficial form. Often a favorite activity of Trust members, annual inspections generally consist of a hike through some of Licking County's most beautiful landscapes.
Okay, now the leeks and zucchini have been sweating down for about 8 minutes, and our roasted root veg is about ready to come out of the oven. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in the arborio rice, and we're going to stir it up, stir it together, and let it toast a little bit, just for a minute or so. Soak up some of that butter and seasoning. And that's my timer for the root veg. So we're good to go there. So we've toasted our rice, the veg is softened. Now we can take the broth and put it, all of it in, all at once. And just stir it up, and let's bring it to a quick simmer. It should be very close to simmering already because we heated up that broth. For those of you who are doing 4 serving size instead of the 2 serving size kit, this is all exactly the same. It's just you're going to be pouring 4 cups of broth into this mixture instead of 2. So same exact process. Might take a little longer to sweat down the veg, but here we go. And you can see it's bubbling. So we're at a simmer. We're going to cover it, and we're going to set a timer for 20 minutes. So now we've got it on simmer, and we're going to take our roasted root veg out of the oven. We're simply going to give it a quick stir. You can see it's starting to take on some color. That olive oils, they're starting to get soft, which is what we want. Now that that's stirred, it goes back in the oven for another 5 to 8 minutes. I would check it after 5. I like my roasted root vegetables to get a little color, get some darkness to them. So that's my gauge for when I take it out finally. So in another 5 minutes or so, we'll take that out and let it cool. And the rice, the risotto is now simmering for 20 minutes. And we'll be back in a few, and we'll start our protein and our sweet corn mixture.
So while we have a little break in the action here, we want to give you a chance to hear from one of our landowners. The Licking Land Trust worked with landowners all across this part of Ohio who are interested in putting a conservation or an agriculture easement on their land. And Kayla Hughes is one of our longtime supporters and a landowner who has chosen to protect her farm. So here's a few words from Kayla.
Well, my great-grandfather, Robert Stair, started buying the farm in little pieces in the 1880s. He came here from Germany as a teenager, and as soon as he was able to get out on his own, he was a butcher by trade, and he wanted to raise the livestock, and so he built a slaughterhouse, which has since been torn down, but he raised the livestock here and then used it for the meat store. I don't think they went to the bank when they wanted to buy property back then. I think you had to have the money, and so he would just work until he had enough money, and then he would negotiate with the neighbor to buy another 5 acres or another 10 acres or whatever they were willing to sell. And so the farm is very irregular. There's no squares, no rectangles or anything like that, and he just bought it up bit by bit. And he lived here for a long time. I don't remember exactly when he moved off the farm, but he lived into his 90s, and then the farm passed to my grandmother, and she lived here until she was in her 60s, and then my father took over the farm, and he farmed it until just 20 years ago. Then when he passed away, went to my mom, and then when she passed away, it's mine, and I'm just really proud of it. Biggest thing I learned growing up on the farm is how to work. I'm really grateful to my parents for that. I think a lot of people don't know how to work hard nowadays. It really affects us. But anyway, that's the biggest thing that I learned. I think the other thing that I learned as being a farmer's daughter was that you have to value the land, but it's a formidable foe, because you got to fight the weather, you got to fight the land, and yet at the same time you're a partner with the land. So I think farmers are really good at being good conservationists, but at the same time they have to learn how to conquer all of the challenges that goes along with growing things on the farm. And I watched my parents work really hard at doing that, and so that was the thing that I learned. That involves, because a lot of people just have no idea how to raise anything and how to supply any food for themselves. I understand you can't find jar lids in the stores now because so many people raise gardens and now they're trying to can and preserve stuff. And a neighbor lady said last week that she went I don't know how many different stores trying to find jar lids so she could can her tomato juice. I mean, I don't think I've ever remember that happening. Well, to me, stewardship is having a healthy respect for the land. We take a lot from it, and some people take way too much from it, but I think farmers have to learn to take just what they need and still respect it and give back to it what it needs. Native Americans called it Mother Earth, and I think that's a good analogy, is that, I mean, you respect your mother, but you also take care of your mother. And so that's, I think, what farmers maybe do better than a lot of city people think they do. I mean, because you hear a lot of people complaining about what farmers do and don't do, but for the most part, I think farmers really respect the earth, and respecting it is what stewardship is to me. Well, my biggest concern before I put my property in a conservation easement with Licking Land Trust was the fact that I'm really the last of my family that would care enough about the farm to keep it a farm. I have no siblings, I have no children. I do have other family members that would be probably okay with inheriting it from me, but they're not going to keep it as a farm. They might keep it as a green space, but I just couldn't take that chance. So I was concerned that it stay, if not a farm, at least green after I pass away. So I started exploring options. My mother passed away in 2004, and so I started exploring options, and by 2007 I had completed the easement with Licking Land Trust, and I'm very happy about it. And as far as trusting them, in perpetuity sounds like a very, very long time, but I do trust that they will do everything that they possibly can to keep it as a green space, and that makes me very happy. They were helpful. I guess it's been about maybe 3 or 4 years ago now. Across the road is the Licking Springs Golf Course, and he wanted to rezone to build some houses and some condominiums, which Nork City did do that for him. And they were going to put the sewer line up through here to reach his houses, the city sewer line, and I got a notification that it was going to go across the south end of the farm. Well, I'm not in the city, I'm still in Newton Township, but it was like, this is what we're going to do. And so I called up the board, and at that time it was Candy Moore and Jeremy King, and they investigated the issue, and Jeremy attended one meeting at the Nork City with me, and yes, they're going to build houses on the golf course eventually, which doesn't really excite me, but it's going to happen. But the sewer line is not going across my farm, and I'm not sure I could have accomplished that without the help of the Land Trust. So I'm very happy for what they do and for the support and for having taken my easement with them.
Okay, so we've given the rice a little bit of a head start. I've warmed up a pan, and now we're going to start to brown our protein. Tonight, in this demonstration, I'm using the smoked sausage, but this will be the time to start your chicken as well, or your shrimp. The shrimp is fully cooked already, but it was frozen, so it still might be kind of frozen at home. So just keep that in mind. The goal with the shrimp is really just to get it warmed up again. If we overcook it, it could get a little rubbery. So just be mindful of that. I have a hot pan, so I'm going to get the sausage started. You can hear it sizzling already. So while that starts to brown a little bit, we've got this butter, and we don't really need it for the sausage, but you might want to throw a little in the pan for the chicken, just to lubricate the pan a little bit. And also for the shrimp. So shrimp loves butter. I love butter. The other thing I want to mention is we are here in the carriage house at Brindu Mansion. They've been kind enough to let us use this space to shoot this video, so many thanks to Brindu. Also thanks to Ross's Granville Market again. We're using their prep kitchen to prep all of these kits so that the various volunteers can deliver them to everybody's home today. So many thanks to Ross's as well. And we're just going to let this protein take on some color. So we'll come back in a few minutes and add in the sweet corn and the seasoning.
Raccoon Creek Reserve is about 16 acres owned by the Granville Township and was one of the first easements established by the Licking Land Trust in 1993. It's a riparian area, meaning that it's on the banks of the river and is an interface between the land and the river. This is important ecologically because it provides a buffer for floods. Raccoon Creek can have dramatic differences in water levels. For instance, the March 2020 flood, a USGS gauge a bit upstream from the easement showed heights to be 13 feet of water, whereas in September there's about 6 inches of water typically. So this massive volume of water needs somewhere to go. If the river was channelized, it would cause some issues. But these riparian areas allow a buffer next to the stream where water can flood through the forest, and this water actually provides a pulse of nutrients in soil. These riparian ecosystems are adapted to flooding. Too much of it can cause some problems, but the right amount of flooding is good for these ecosystems and provides some benefits for water quality and wildlife as well. One of the issues of Raccoon Creek is that some of these flooding events unearthed a historic town dump from that area, and each subsequent flood has uncovered more of the dump. This is an issue for the stability of the ecosystem as it's scouring away large areas, and it's also an issue for the village as some of the historic dump materials in each flood are brought into the adjacent playing fields and park area. We're currently looking for funding and solutions for this issue. It's important to recognize that this riparian area and riparian areas in general are dynamic in nature, so we need to find a solution that allows for the kind of changes that riparian areas will have, but still incorporates the needs of the village and township for stability. Raccoon Creek is a great example of an easement that can provide a lot of different types of benefits ecologically and protection against flooding, and so it can provide benefits to people structures in addition to providing benefits for wildlife and water quality.
Hi everyone, my name's Hannah Hartshorn and I'm the current intern at the Licking Land Trust. I just wanted to share with you some of the work that we've been doing at Harnden Preserve this summer. Our amazing board member and restoration ecologist Rebecca Swab has taken the initiative to revive Harnden Preserve, which has been plagued by flooding in recent years. She, along with the youth ambassadors and some amazing local volunteers, have conducted 3 invasive species removals, which included the removal of some small plants, shrubs, and trees, and we have an upcoming native tree planting scheduled for early November. We hope that planting these native trees will help discourage the harmful invasive species from regrowing in this preserve. Over the summer, our youth ambassadors have also used their voices on social media, talking about how nature has helped them cope throughout this difficult pandemic. Hi, this is Hannah with the Licking Land Trust. We asked kids across Licking County to share something with us. We asked them to draw their favorite animals and think about their habitats.
Our mission is to conserve the land here in Licking County.
What does that mean?
It means to preserve, protect, save, defend, support, maintain, and sustain the important lands here at home.
It also means protecting the habitats of the animals we know you care about. And now we'd like to share with you some artwork from kids here in Licking County.
They've even shown us how to do Instagram takeovers on social media and given our own board members some tips and tricks.
Hi, this is Shayna Bird. I'm going to be taking over the Licking Land Trust feed for today on Instagram.
This is something that we're hoping to continue to keep our board members connected with the community. Our youth ambassadors have been a great addition to the Land Trust, and we hope that their efforts will spread throughout the community and help our youth get more involved in conservation and nature.
Our smoked sausage is now pretty brown. It's time to add the sweet corn mixture to it, season it up, and then we're just about ready to finish off our risotto. So here we go. The sweet corn is a frozen product, so it may be still partially frozen, but that's okay. We're going to get it open and in the pan with the sausage. There we go. Stir that. I like to scrape up some of the brown bits on the bottom. You can add a little butter to help clean that up. Now that that's going, we can sprinkle in the dried herbs, the thyme and rosemary. And I'm also going to add a pinch of the salt and pepper mixture. Since that corn was frozen, we're going to just cover it to steam it for a little bit. And we should be very, very close to done with our rice. So let's take a quick look at it. Oh yeah, it's tightening up pretty good here. You can see most of the moisture is absorbed. So this is a perfect time to get our Parmesan cheese. So one thing to do is remember to save some Parmesan cheese for your salad. Most of this is for the risotto, but save a little for your salad. So the Parm was right there. I've saved a little bit for the salad. Now we're going to stir this right in to the rice mixture. Nice and cheesy. Now some risotto recipes would have you slowly adding broth, and as it gets absorbed by the rice, adding more and constantly stirring it. And I'm here to tell you that is unnecessary. I think you're going to really like how this turns out. You can see how cheesy and gooey that is. It's got the zucchini in there. It has the leeks that virtually melted away but left all their flavor. We've got a little cheese left for the salad. So I'm just going to uncover this mixture. Stir it a little bit. Because I love butter, I'm going to add a little bit of butter. Totally optional. But just to finish it off. So now you have your rice, protein and sweet corn mixture, or if you did the vegetarian version, you've got mushrooms and sweet corn. When you go to plate this, just put a nice heaping serving of the rice mixture on the plate, and then top it with your protein corn or mushroom corn mixture, and that's it for plating the main dish. When we come back, now we can basically turn it off on the stovetop. Doesn't need to cook anymore, it's good to go. When we come back, I'll show you how to assemble the salad, and then we'll be ready to roll.
I'm Charla. I'm a Park National banker, and I'm a new grandma. At Park National Bank, we believe that we're more than our job titles, and you're more than an account number. Now, bringing our family of community banks together under a single brand name means you get those core values you always counted on from us, and more service, more access, and more options. We're all together now at Park National Bank, where you mean more.
So we're just about ready to serve this meal. We've got our salad fixings. We have our green mixture, we have our salad dressing, we've got our roasted root vegetable, took on some great color, looks great. We also have candied pecans. And our pear. I forgot to bring a paring knife, so I am not going to be slicing this pear up, but you should, and you should use it as a topping on your salad. So as for the greens, we had to include a whole box of greens. You may not want to split this between two people. It may be more roughage than you want tonight. So I would say just take out however much you want for your salad and put it in a large mixing bowl. And open up your salad dressing container. Take a fork and just stir it up to make sure it's mixed. We have olive oil in here, Dijon mustard, salt, pepper, minced shallot, and some apple cider vinegar. So that gives you a real sense of fall flavor. I like to dress and toss my greens. So we're just going to drizzle some of this right on and just toss it a bit. Now that the greens are dressed for each of your salad bowls or plates, just take a nice portion, boom, put it down, top it with candied pecans, as much of the root veg as makes sense, and a sliced or cubed pear. That's your fall salad. And then just to wrap everything up, we have our protein and corn mixture, our risotto, plate that, top it, there's your main dish. And then we didn't bring it to the demonstration tonight, but there'll be some cookies in each kit for you to enjoy as a sweet treat. I hope you found this to be simple. We strive for simplicity. All the kits you'll find at Ross's every weekday and in the weekends. Very simple. So we hope that if you like this experience, you try out more kits at Ross's Granville Market. They can also be found online at mamoskitchen.com. Thank you so much for supporting the Licking Land Trust with the Farm to Fork at Home event. I'm Neil Bell. Have a great night.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you had fun. I know personally this is the best meal I have cooked ever. So thanks so much to Neil for guiding us through and pulling all the ingredients together and showing us how to cook this delicious meal. Please support Mamo's Kitchen. If you're out at Granville Market or online, you can find Mamo's Kitchen and support Neil's enterprise. Thank you so much to Bryn Du for allowing us to use this space. Thank you to our sponsors who really made this event possible. And thanks to you for joining us this evening. We hope in 2021 to be back to the normal Farm to Fork, but who knows what 2021 will bring. We are delighted that you could join us this evening, and thanks for your support of the Licking Land Trust. We work to protect green space and agricultural land in our part of Ohio, which is a beautiful part of Ohio, and we are really appreciative to have your support. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a good evening.